I just wanted to share this new concept, formative dot base. It simply means a collection of formative dots, dots, instances, experiences that we have had when we are in our childhood that basically shape our consciousness, our values, our behavior, our preferences. I already gave an example of such a formative dot for my case about Robert Frost. I think he was Robert Frost, the poet. He was the dot was that when he was a student, teacher gave an essay about wine, 45 minutes to write that essay. Everyone, as soon as the bell rang, everyone started just scribbling and filling the pages. But he kept on thinking, and he kept on thinking for 40 minutes. And the teacher was getting nervous that why is he not writing anything? And when only 5 minutes were remaining, he just wrote two or three lines, which were, Lord Jesus looked into the water and the water blushed. That was his essay about wine. Lord Jesus looked into the water from above and the water blushed. So this dot was given to me when I was studying, when I was in my 11th class, and my English teacher told us this dot in the class, and I was amazed. So this is an example of a formative dot, and this there are a lot of hidden things. There are a lot of messages in this dot. For example, the message is that how do you not simply join a race and you do something original, something different? How do you handle the pressures when others are asking you to comply and be like them? And how do you withstand those pressures? And how do you think creatively? A lot of such dots are hidden in this particular story in this dot. This is the example of formative dot. Let me also talk about another formative dot. It's when I was reading about Sherlock Holmes. The choice of subjects that Sherlock Holmes had was totally unrelated, apparently outwardly unrelated, but they had some consistency, some story, some method to the madness. For example, on one side, I think he studied some martial arts like boxing and how to wield a sword. Then he also studied chemistry, about poisons, about soil. No relation between martial arts and chemistry. He did not study at all about geography. He did not study at all about history. But he had a very good understanding of the history of crime. He had a database of crime, when which murder was committed, where, and how. So that was his collection of subjects. And because he was going to be a detective, about knowing about poisons, knowing about soil, so that footprints, etc., knowing about fingerprints, all those, whatever those things were there, and also knowing about some martial arts so that you can defend oneself. So this was a formative dot for me. There are multiple other dots like this. Like my father used to tell me the story of Dhyan Chand, the famous, the world's greatest hockey player. I'm talking about field hockey, not ice hockey, and how he used to get up in the morning and he used to run on the railway tracks and he used to balance the ball with his hockey stick, with his old hockey stick, and barefooted or just with slippers he used to run for kilometers, and he used to balance that ball on single railway track. So these examples have really, this is my formative dot. These have shaped my consciousness, my values, my preferences, what I like from inside. So my point here is, it's not to share my own dot base. The point here is that I believe that everyone, each one of us has such a formative dot base. And this actually, in a way, we can say that this becomes our philosophy, this shapes our consciousness. So it might be a good idea for one to identify, if especially if one is a person who is a bit different than others, who has a philosophy which is a bit radical or which is a bit different from others. It might be a good idea to identify such a formative dot base. That's all. Thank you.